Dear friends, here's Blanca again with a brand new guest. I'm absolutely delighted to introduce you to my friends. This is a very dear friend of mine, an American lady from Maine, and I met her, we were counting now, it's 11 years ago. We met in a very profound retreat in Santa Barbara, California, in the Hudson Institute. They have this wonderful workshop where you open your heart. Mm-hmm. So I met this lady and we became friends for these 11 years. And today we're delighted to talk about something that matters to both of us, but that matters to many people in the audience. It is about the heroine's journey. Yeah, and you will say heroine's journey. Well, this is a conversation for women, maybe, but maybe it's also for men, so that you can understand us better. So both genders are welcome. And who is this lady? Her name is Susanna Liller. And she's highly experienced in business, but she's a very accomplished coach already for more than a decade working, empowering women to find their path, to build the journey, to transform themselves and to grow. So Susanna, I'm delighted to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you, Blanca. How wonderful to be here with you. Being here across the world from you is a pleasure.
So tell me, I think it's very, very relevant what happened those 11 years ago when we met and what transformed inside you that led actually ultimately to this book.
It did. Yeah, so I think I'm going to share that story, but I want to just tell you that I get these quotations every day, and this one just seemed to be so pertinent to the book and what we're talking about, and it's from Krishnamurti, and it's this quote: "What you are, the world is. What you are, the world is. And without your transformation, there can be no transformation of the world. Without your transformation, there can be no transformation of the world." And that's it for me. That's why I wrote this book, because the heroine's journey takes you on a journey of transformation. And women particularly, I think, believe that they can't be so selfish and just focus on themselves and their own transformation. But to me, it's the key to changing the world is if you work on yourself. So just wanted to start with that quotation because it's perfect for our conversation. So you and I met. I was in a consulting firm. I was doing organizational development work and executive coaching, which I'm still doing. And I thought it'd be great to go to coaching school, but first you go to this life launch experience. And, you know, on the heroine's journey, or the hero's journey, the first thing that you pay attention to is getting a call. And a call is something that maybe your soul is urging you to do, your intuition, whatever you want to call it. It's sort of speaking to you in that still small voice. So there I was in Santa Barbara, so leaving Maine, freezing cold Maine, in January, going to Santa Barbara, meeting you in that beautiful place full of flowers. And I began to get this little voice, you know, maybe it's time to do something. And in the book, and of course, I have a copy right here. In the book, we talk about that as a leap. You hear your intuition, you hear your soul speaking to you, and it's asking you to go on a journey, to make a leap into the unknown. So you first hear it, and I didn't know what it was telling me to do, and I still was thinking, I'm taking this, and I'm going to go back to the consulting firm, and in large part, I work with groups in conflict. And again, I'm still doing that. But lo and behold, through the exercises, I got the message more clearly that I was meant to leave the consulting firm, and I was meant to go out on my own and do my own work. So I leave the consulting firm and I continue to do the coaching program at Hudson. And in the middle of the year, you're asked to start writing a presentation or a paper on how you want to make your mark in the coaching world. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Other people had theirs all done. I hadn't even begun. And somebody invited me here in Maine to go listen to a woman speak about the hero's journey and how the Wizard of Oz is the hero's journey, and to explain the connection. And I went, it was in August, to Camden, Maine. Maybe some of your listeners have been there. It's a beautiful place. And it was like the windows came open, the lights came on. It was, oh my gosh, this is the framework for working with people, that there is a path with milestones that all of us are on. It's the path of development, getting us to our full potential. It's in books and movies and stories, and it has been so since Homer came up with the Iliad and the Odyssey. It's ancient, and it's in all cultures all around the world. So it's a way of connecting us all. But the major thing for me was, yes, I could see it in The Wizard of Oz, how Dorothy leaves Kansas and goes on an adventure and becomes more fully, herself, which is, we're all taking the journey to become more of who we really are. But I saw it in the women and the men that I was coaching. And if they were willing to listen to that call, like I did when I left my consulting firm, and I've heard many other calls in my many years, then they leave their comfort zone, they go on a journey, and the things that happen to them grow them into their bigger selves. And so that's sort of what happened at Hudson that got me. And so doing the presentation in my report on the hero's journey, I called it Finding My Own Ruby Slippers. It was the seed. So that was in what did we say, 2007 and 2008? That was the seed planted for this book. And it did take me 5 years to write it.
Yeah. I remember about 8 years ago, no, less because he's 8 now, about 7 years ago, my son and I, who was a baby at that time, met you in Paris. You came to Paris not on holiday.
No.
You came to Paris on a journey, and you were guiding women in this transformation of the hero journey.
Right.
So this is something that you have taken at heart. This is something that you have helped women to guiding them in the process. I would like to focus on the step one, the call.
Yeah.
What is that? How does that feel? It's not that the telephone goes and you are called to, hey, come on a journey.
No.
How does it look like? What can be happening in the life of a person then?
No, it's so important because that's the key to getting you going on the journey. And so, of course, you would expect me to say, and I am going to say, it happens differently for everybody. So for me, it tends to be, I describe it as a nudge. I just keep getting this thought. And you often can, you can also do refusal of the call. Just keep pushing it away. And then it can get louder and louder. But for example, there are 3 women's stories in the book. And one woman was a professional bicycler, and she was riding and fell off her bike, and after several things happened that she got checked out, and she found out that she had MS, and and that became the start of her call that she was going to be doing something else, and to have to listen to that. Another woman had a very successful music school, and she began to just feel tired, and it wasn't singing to her the way it was, and she began to listen to, well, what's going on here? So for me, I've been through a long time ago, a divorce. I just found myself crying a lot. So it's being willing to ask yourself, what's going on? Why am I acting differently? What am I feeling? And I think now our biggest challenge to this is we're so busy, we're so distracted. You need some sort of quiet or a pause in your life to hear it, or you just keep going. And I believe that if you keep going and your soul is calling to you, you will get some sort of a wake-up call that will shake you a little bit more, saying, listen up, you have to listen. This is about your personal growth.
Wow. Wow, I'm so happy that you say that, because what I see in the corporate world is lots of women just going. And this big discourse, women to the top, it doesn't matter what, you just go to the top. And what is the top? They are working almost themselves to death. I mean, I see women getting all kinds of illnesses, divorces, problems with the children. And I mean, I go back to the quote of Krishnamurti. This transformation is necessary, that pain is necessary.
Right. And, you know, we need women at the top, but I think women need to also, and this is what you and I talked about 5 years ago or something, women need to own and believe in their own way of leadership. It doesn't have to look like the male model of striving, staying at work until 10 at night. Not that all men do that, for sure, but that's sort of been the model for success. You know, you're just there all the time, and we can do it differently. But we do need more women's voices, yes, but women have to find that time to get quiet and hear what their inner voice is saying. And my book is all about the voice to trust is your own inner guidance, not everybody around you, not what the trends are, but your own, whatever it's telling you. And it might tell you to quit, or it might, you know, and then it's scary, and then people don't want to go. And that's why the book also talks about the threshold guardians. And when you're getting that idea about, okay, this is about me either applying for a job, you know, that I think I might not be qualified for, but I really want to do, or leaving a relationship, whatever the leap might be, the threshold guardians, they're at the threshold of your new adventure, are saying, wait, no, you can't do it, you're not smart enough, you don't have enough credentials, you know, you don't have enough money, you won't make enough, whatever. And you need to understand that happens. They're just part of the process, and you just say, thanks for sharing, and you keep going, because you're listening here, you're not listening there.
But I don't know if we have a hard time listening to our heart. We have become disconnected. We're pretty good at the distractions of the mobile phone and the television, and how do we actually connect? I heard a quote that the longest journey is the journey from the head to the heart.
Right.
Give us some tips that we can action on that regard.
Right. So all my life I had been told, people would say, Susanna, meditation would be really good for you, you know, and I would take that to heart, because I do a lot of reading and of inspirational books, and I would agree, and so I would try it, and I'd do it for maybe a couple months and then stop. And finally, I don't know what really got me there, but 3.5 years ago, I said, this is it, I'm going to do it. I know that it will help me, so why am I not doing it? And I learned transcendental meditation. And the universe has blessed me that I have stuck with it, and I do it daily, and it has changed my life. So for me, I would say that's how I get connected, and it has connected me in an amazing way, in many amazing ways. But there's other ways. I think journaling, and I'm a big fan of Julia Cameron's The Artist Way. So doing the morning pages in the morning, you know, have you done that, Blanca? Yeah, and so many people.
I have to laugh because we were in the bookstore there in Santa Barbara, California. You gave me the book.
Oh.
And it changed my life. Absolutely. Julia Cameron, the Artist's Way, one of the best life-changing tools there are.
Right. And she used it, I would say, just like you would use meditation. It's to just she calls it vacuuming yourself out, just getting everything out, and then what's left is the essence of you, which is spirit. You know, it's the divinity of you, which is, again, where you want to come from. And that's what's going to give you the wisdom, not all the stuff that's bombarding us. Yeah. So I think, but then going on walks, you know, anything that gets you out of your typical thought patterns. Yeah.
And I think it's a muscle even to continuously doing, because sometimes we feel bad, and the easiest way, okay, I want to play a game, okay, I'm going to watch a soap. So we have to get into that, because otherwise, you know how I see it? As shouting little children inside our heart or brain. If we quiet them and we don't listen to them,
yes,
they will shout louder afterwards.
Right. I agree. And, you know, it's interesting because I think our culture, it's always, I have all this stuff to do. I've got to figure it out. I've got to reorganize my to-do list and get my priorities. And I start going into that mode. And then I think, no, it's time to do my afternoon meditation. I sit down for 20 minutes and I meditate. And then I know exactly the next thing that makes sense to do, and it's the right thing. So it's somehow getting out of that way we've been trained to figure it out, and it doesn't work as well as organically letting it come up. Because we know, there's a part of us that knows exactly where we're going and what we need to be doing.
Wow, it's so exciting. So that's the beginning of the journey. At the beginning of the journey, you have the call, the refusal of the call, and actually daring to go there. So right. you took the steps, you leaped.
Yep.
And then what happens?
Okay, so then you're on the road of adventure, because it's an adventure, it's an unknown world, you haven't been out there. So for me, it was leaving a marriage, couple times leaving a job that I had been in a while, and on the road of adventure, good things happen and also bad things happen. So you can be, in the book I give an example how I left a company I'd been in 12 years with another woman, and we did great initially, and then began to do not so great together, and she told me she didn't want to be my partner anymore, which was like being stabbed in the gut. You know, it was hard for me, but eventually it was the best thing for me, because I had to pull myself up and do it on my own, and I proved to myself that I could do it by myself. So I think you'll find, and that's why I include the story in there, the old fable about the farmer whose horse broke his leg and that made the son not have to go to war. I mean, things happen, and maybe it's bad, but maybe it isn't bad. So things happen. You meet mentors, people who will come who are like you, who help to guide you. I would say, Blanca, I'm looking at you, a mentor. And then you will meet people who aren't so helpful. But again, it's all there to teach you and to look at everything as, all right, what's the lesson here? What can I learn from this? But then, chapter 8, now maybe it's chapter 9, we meet a dragon on the journey. There's the dragon. And the dragon is a metaphor for some block, some fear, some major challenge that we encounter this time on the journey. And remember, we take journeys all the time. It's sort of like a spiral towards, I think, self-actualization. And in different areas of our lives, we could be taking different journeys. But there's this dragon blocking your path. And I describe them in the book as some fear that we might have had since childhood. We might not even know we're blocked by it, but the circumstances have brought it to light. And often, and I have people write letters to their dragons, and the dragons write back, and they draw pictures of their dragons. And women, I find, are not about slaying the dragon. They're about what's going on here? Trying to understand, why are you blocking me? Why are you sitting on my treasure? And the treasure being my beautiful self, and fully realizing that. And often we're trying to protect you. We don't want you to get hurt. I'm working with a woman right now who is a great artist, and she is prevented by a dragon in her psyche that says that if it's not perfect, don't do it. Don't draw unless it's perfect drawing. It's a very, very harmful dragon to her, and she really wants to draw. So when she asked it, what's going on here? And the dragon said, well, it's because I don't want you to get the criticism that you're going to get. The world will vilify you for not being perfect as an artist. So what women do is get to understand that, and that helps them move through it. And then they're on the other side of the dragon, and they receive gifts. And the gifts can be just more confidence from having gone through that, or releasing whatever that dragon represented. But there has been learning on the journey. They come back through the return threshold, and they come back, again, it's a metaphor, to their village, which is their community, and they share their gifts, what they've learned. So that's kind of the full cycle. And let me just say, so Joseph Campbell, who wrote The Hero with 1,000 Faces, who was the guy who really popularized and brought to the fore the hero's journey, which he always said hero could stand for women or men. He had many other steps, but I wanted the basic steps because I wanted women in particular to know about it, to know that they were on this journey, to know that they were heroines, and I could prove it to them because I know their lives represent the journey. And so I didn't include everything. I wanted it to be accessible, an easy book to read. So those are the simple steps.
In your opinion, how many times do we go through this process? Is it a once-off, or is it do we go several times through the cycle?
Many. So I would ask you, and who's listening, the people listening, look back in your life. Every time you feel you left your comfort zone in a significant way, which I, again, call a leap. You can practice leaving your comfort zone. And that's also a muscle, Blanca, that you can practice with, trying out new things. But the things I'm talking about, the leaps, looking back, you always see it best when you look back, not so much when you're in it. But times when you've left your comfort zone. And if I were to ask you that, what would you tell me? What was one of your leaps?
Well, definitely 11 years ago when I left the corporate world, that was a huge leap.
Huge.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm sure you've done similar, you know, maybe not as big as that one, but when I look back, I look at my divorce, the times I've left companies and gone out on my own. So right now I'm thinking about one. And just to give you a sense of what that's like, so here I've been working with companies doing organizational development, which means mostly strategic planning, conflict management, and it's mostly how I've earned my money. And now this book has come out and I'm not having a lot of time to devote to it, to do this, which I really want to do. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, maybe it's time for me to let go and leap and leave that behind.
Yeah.
I haven't decided, but it's beginning to knock, you know.
Yeah.
I'm getting that nudge.
Yeah. Would you say that this is like the constant renewal, like the seasons, like becoming who we are through this daring and suffering and petting the dragon, making peace with the dragon and coming back is a way to grow and to become
more authentic.
We will become one day?
Yes, more of who you really are. And I think it's our soul, our divinity within that is, you know, doing this because our soul knows who we are, but we tend to listen to everybody externally, and not trust our inner voice.
That's for me, that's what resonates the most, to listen to our own voice.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, the listeners, by definition, are in all different levels of, in their own, not levels, because that doesn't exist. That's the wrong word. But everybody's in their own journey, in their own moment, in their own situation.
Mm.
I ask to your guidance and to your intuition to share with them the element that still is missing to start closing this conversation.
The element that still is missing. Well, I didn't talk about the belly of the whale.
You didn't.
So the belly of the whale is a place you get to on the journey where you feel, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm right side up or upside down and what's happening, and I'm unsure and I don't know. And the metaphor is just like when the whale swallowed Jonah in that old Bible story. And it's what the journey does to you is it can shake you. And the reason why it's shaking you is it's time to transform. It's time for you not to be the same old Susanna or Blanca. And it's birthing you into a new iteration of yourself. And is that comfortable? No, it's not. It feels like you're being regurgitated, you know, but it's necessary. And so when I look back at all those hard times, I'm glad that I had them. That woman leaving me, you know, as her partner and realizing I can't be with my first husband anymore and how hard all that was. I wouldn't be who I am today, and I still have a long way to go if those things hadn't happened, as uncomfortable as they were.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that you bring that forward. You know, recently I took a sabbatical. It's not a sabbatical of a year, but a sabbatical month. Because lots of things happened in my life and I was really confused. I didn't know what to do. And I went to this psychologist and she gave me basically one of the best advices I have ever gotten in my life. She put the mirror in front of me and said, your strategy of success has always been action. For now, you're you need to let go of that coping strategy, of that survival strategy, and allow yourself to not take action, to do nothing.
Yeah.
Whoa, was that difficult? Was terribly difficult.
Right.
And I bring this up because I assure you that many of the women who are listening are working themselves so hard that they are not able to meditate, that they are not able to feel their body. Where does it hurt?
Right.
And I don't know if this is when it's the calling or in their lives or is in the belly of the whale.
Right.
But this letting go of your survival strategies and allowing the journey to bring you growth is very valuable. I'm very grateful to this woman.
Yeah, that's, I did the same. That one of the things that allowed me to listen to the call to write the book was I took a sabbatical as well, and I took it for a month, and then I realized at the end of that month that wasn't enough. And so I had to do a lot of stopping things that I was doing in order to have it be quiet enough for me to hear what I needed to do. And that was the beginning. And you also have to be courageous to just get with the silence and the not knowing, because it doesn't always come immediately delivered in a nice package, But if you believe in yourself that there's a part of you that does know, and I so believe that, it will come. Yeah. Yeah. And it's what you said at the beginning. It's once you leave the head part and go to the heart, and then eventually you have to bring it back to the head to take action, Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think if we get stuck in either, then it's not okay. There have been moments in my life where I was really trying to stay in the heart, and then I did not take action, and I was worse than before.
Right, right. So it has to be both, and it has to be our right brain and our left brain, and yeah. But I think the main thing I want people to know is that this is a framework. The heroine's journey is a larger framework in which to view your life. And if you look at it that way, you might get some insights as to what's going on that you didn't know before. It's and the other thing I really like about it is it gives us all common ground. We're all walking the same journey. I don't care where you live or who you are or your social status or anything. It's the same way we all develop and grow in life. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, Susanna, I am so delighted about this conversation. I think I would like to start wrapping it up, because I feel that we have been very complete about it. I'm very delighted. Let's try to close it. Let's think, what is the most important thing they need to hear to say goodbye, before we say goodbye?
So if you who are listening would look at the heroine's journey or hero's journey and see how you are on that path, that you have experienced these things. I know you have left your comfort zone, gone into an unknown adventure, made it through, probably met some dragons. If you look at that and you recognize, because it's been in literature since the beginning of story, this myth of the hero, you will see that you are a heroine, you are a hero. And we tend to have this definition that oh, you're a heroine if you save a life, or if you land an airplane in the ocean, or you're always pointing to somebody else. I want you to point to yourself. I want you to see how big you really are and the power that comes with that and believing with yourself. You will act differently and you will transform, and then you will transform the world. And yay, that's what we need. We need your light shining. So that's what I want everybody to hear.
Wow, I have the goosebumps. I think that the thing that I was feeling when you were speaking was a lot of the hero journeys when we're struggling, and that's when we will never call ourselves heroes. And I think that's very important that we all hearing that we are heroes, just like our Susanna said. Well, you know, this is absolutely shameless advertisement for Susanna's book. I have the pleasure to have read it. I highly recommend it to you. I have the pleasure to have read the Hero with Thousand Faces, but this is an upgrade version written from the point of view of a woman in a simplified version that you can digest really easy because of all the examples. So below the video there will be all the links so that you can buy it.
Thank you.
And now I would like to close sending you loads of love, Susanna, and thank you so much. And thank you for everybody who was listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Blanca. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.